Good morning, everyone. I'm Maria Quiroz, Interim Manager for Small Business Development Department. I'd like to welcome you all to the San Diego International Airport first virtual Meet the Primes event 2020. Most of you remember last year we were at Balboa Park and had over 60 exhibitors and nearly 500 attendees. This year is definitely different, but we still wanted to provide small businesses the opportunity to outreach and connect with the primes. For any businesses new to Meet the Primes, the objective of our event is not only to present the industry's prime contractors, but also to provide resources to help small businesses become successful and to learn about opportunities, resources, and valuable information that can help elevate your business. With that said, I want to welcome Carla Rubio and Carla De La Cruz from our Labor Compliance Department, who is presenting today. Welcome, Carla Rubio, and thank you for your participation. And please introduce yourself and your team.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate you showing up to this session. I hope that we can all learn something new, or that you guys can learn something new about the labor compliance program here at the airport. And like I said, my name is Carla Rubio, and I'm in part of the labor compliance team here at the San Diego Airport. And so it looks like we're, Maria, are we gonna go ahead and get started with the presentation? Or?
Yes, you are.
Excellent. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So there's two of us, labor compliance team. I'll be presenting the first portion of the presentation, and Carla De La Cruz is going to be presenting the second portion of the presentation. Let's go ahead and get started by talking a little bit about the purpose and the objective of the labor compliance program here at the airport. Here in California, we've had prevailing wage laws for about 50 years, and most of the time it's government public works projects that are affected, or and it can be either federal or it can be state projects. When we're talking about prevailing wages, we're talking about the hourly rate of pay that a worker performing a specific trade or classification gets paid. It usually includes fringe benefits, and it's based off of the geographic area. So for example, a carpenter will get paid differently than an electrician or a laborer. And a carpenter here in San Diego County may get paid differently than a carpenter in, let's say, LA County or Northern California. The purpose of the labor compliance program here at the airport is to ensure that the authority meets all statutory requirements as an awarding body. One of those requirements is to ensure that all contractors and subcontractors pay the correct prevailing wages, and that they meet apprenticeship requirements as well. And again, this is on construction, and it's on public works construction. So what is public works? Public works is construction done under contract on contracts of $1,000 or more. And it's contracts that are paid for in part or in whole by public funds. And that can be local money, state money, or federal money. It covers new construction, alteration, demolition, installation, repair work, maintenance work, warranty work. It also includes pre-construction and post-construction work, as well as the final cleanup of a construction project. So who must comply with public works? Pretty much any contractor or subcontractor that is listed on a winning bid and that has entered into a contract with a prime that is doing public works. That includes ready-mix suppliers, sole proprietors, owners or brokers, trucking companies, and professional services. There are some exemptions as to who is supposed to pay prevailing wages on a public works project. And the first one we want to mention really quickly is work that's carried out by the public agency. So with its own workforce, then those workers would not get paid prevailing wages. Certain janitorial or security guard services, those are not covered, as well as public works projects of under $1,000, which we alluded to just a minute ago. One thing that we always like to mention is there's an exemption for contractors who are only 1/2 or 1% of the total project. There's an exemption for having to be listed on a bid list. That is not an exemption to pay prevailing wages or to meet apprenticeship requirements or any other compliance standards. So that exemption of the 1/2 or 1% only applies to contractors, or actually subcontractors or tier contractors having to appear on a bid list. So with that, if you guys have any questions, you can either type it in the chat box and Christine will let us know if there's any questions, or you can wait until the end. And so right now we'll go to our next slide unless Christine says that we have questions. So it does not appear that there are any questions. We'll go to the next slide, and Carla de la Cruz will be presenting that part of the presentation.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Carla de la Cruz. I'm also part of the labor compliance team here at the San Diego Airport. So you can ask your questions away. Don't just go all at once, but you could also just finish this whole thing and then, ask away later. So what I'm going to cover is the awarding body obligations. What are public agencies' obligations when they have public works projects, out in the street, and what contractors should know as well. So first, public agency or awarding bodies must submit a form called PWC 100 to the DIR when the project has been awarded, or a public works project is awarded to a contractor, to a designer, or to a developer using public works money. So all the notice of requirement, including wages, and all the other public works requirements need to be all in the bid invitation or in the contract. Also, awarding bodies must ensure that all contractors bidding or participating during the construction are all currently registered with the DIR, and as well as all their subcontractors and tier contractors who are performing labor on the job. Also, we would require public works contractor registration, meaning that it is a public record, so anybody can check if a contractor or a sub or a tier is currently registered with the DIR. So the proof of that would be like the online on the DIR website, or we ask for a certificate or a proof of payment that they did register to the DIR. Also, prevailing wages is required, so we want to make sure that contractors are complying with this requirement, that they all pay their labor workers on the job the proper prevailing wages for the classification or for the trade that they are performing on the job. Also, we have the responsibility to report any violations to the DIR as part of the awarding body's cognizance and abiding by the law, that any violations committed by the contractor if not paying prevailing wages, misclassification, not employing proper apprentices, and other requirements. Those must be reported to the DIR, and the DIR will do the enforcement. Also, we are also allowed to withhold and retain any amounts that's applicable if there's any civil wage assessment, if the violation needs to pay wages back to the workers, we are allowed and responsible to withhold any contract amount. Also, we require contractors to post any job site notices, all those whistleblowers, prevailing wage information at all times during construction. So everybody is informed of what the requirements are, for the project. Also, awarding bodies required to put in or to inform contractors bidding and working on a public works project of the applicable prevailing wage determination. And if it's a blended project, the Davis-Bacon must also be included in those bid specs or in the contract itself. Next slide, please. Okay, contractor obligation. So contractors, again, must be currently registered with the DIR. You are not allowed to participate on public works project if you are not registered, with the DIR. It's a $400 fee. So, and that's annual fee. You could also pay up to 3 years, so you don't have to worry about it for the next 3 years, and you can just continue bidding on public works. So you have to be registered with the DIR. Also, you must pay prevailing wages. You must pay the proper wages to the classification or to the trade that you are performing on the job. Overtime requirement is also applicable. So if you here in California, if you work anything over 8, anything 40 hours a week, overtime is required. For the day for the federal work, the Davis-Bacon, anything over 40 hours overtime kicks in. Also, you must maintain and furnish certified payroll records, meaning you are required to submit ECPR to the DIR, and also upon request by the awarding body, you have to provide those certified payroll records. Comply with apprenticeship requirements. Here in California, it's mandatory for all contractors to do their due diligence to employ apprentices on the job. Contracts of a total value of $30,000 and up are required for apprenticeship requirements. Also, again, workplace postings, you are responsible to have those information available at all times, the whistleblowers, the prevailing wages, the EEO posters, workers' comp posters, those are all required at all times when you are working on a job site. Also, prime contractors, you also have to make sure that whatever's in your contract, ensuring that prevailing wage and public works requirements are stated and informed on your subcontractors' documents to ensure that they would also follow the same requirement as you. And as you can see here, I'm sorry. Yeah. So you have to ensure that your sub or tier subs are also paying the proper prevailing wages. You are responsible also to review their certified payroll report, making sure that everything is true and correct. And also, Prime should have the subs sign an affidavit that they have followed all the requirements for public works, and it's under penalty of perjury that everything is properly recorded and reported. Next slide, please. Here at San Diego Airport, we do monitor compliance as well. And here are the few things that we do to make sure that our construction projects and all our prevailing and public works project adhere to the requirements. We do provide the applicable prevailing wage determination before, during pre-bid and pre-con. And at the same time, we also, remind them during the construction. So those are all provided to the contractors and to all project participants. Also, we do conduct pre-bid meetings and pre-construction meetings to make sure that everybody's aware of the requirements. We do collect and review certified payroll records. We do spot checks here at the airport to ensure that, we all participants are doing their due diligence to be honest and to properly reporting what it's supposed to be reported. Also, we monitor apprenticeship requirements since this is mandatory for California Public Works. We make sure that the contractors are well informed of where to get their apprentices, how to do those requests. So, we help out, and at the same time, we make sure that the contractor is taking accountability and responsibility for this requirement. Also, we do use a web-based program called LCP Tracker. This is where our contractors submit their certified payroll records and other labor compliance documents. We do training for this one for our first-time users, or for anybody who would need assistance navigating this software. Also, we do conduct project site interviews, to make sure that the workers are being paid accordingly to their to the trade, to the work that they are actually performing on the job. That the prevailing wages is truly paid to that type of trade. Also, we do respond to public records requests, because since we keep all those records in-house as well, we do, provide them for anybody who would like to look, if the public would like to know something about the public project. So I think that's it. I know the next slide is for any questions that you may have at this time, or if we could assist you with any concerns that you may have, or a participant on Public Works in the future, you can ask your questions away.
Hi, Carla. It looks like right now I don't see any questions in the group chat, but I do have some questions that I receive frequently, or I've heard from different sessions that I'd love to ask you, if that's okay.
Sure. Yes.
All right. So my first question to you is, for a subcontractor, say they have a very minimal amount of contract work on a project, say I only have about $2,000 worth of work on the project. Am I required, or do I need to actually still register with the Department of Industrial Relations, DIR, regardless of my low amount of contract work on this project?
Yeah, so the apprenticeship requirement, there's a threshold of $30,000, and that threshold goes by the total contract value, meaning to say it's not the subs contract amount or the tiers amount, it's the prime contract value. So if the prime's contract is more than 30,000, apprenticeship is required from the prime all the way to the tier subs. So it doesn't, do by, contractor's value. So it goes by the total. So yes, they are required to employ or do their due diligence to have apprentice on the project.
And for various projects,
Yep.
how can I find out if having
Unless
apprentices
Rita has something to add? Oh, sorry.
is a requirement?
They can go to the DIR website. They can just all the public works requirements are listed in there. They have, there's a search engine on that website as well, where to find apprentices for different trades. And it also mentioned that threshold on there. So it's a really good site for first time public works contractor, or to those contractors who want to have a refresher of what the requirements are.
And great response. And I was just curious, do you happen to know how frequently the DIR updates its apprenticeship website search engine. So how would one enter into that database? Or do they have, like, say, a weekly, monthly, quarterly update, or just an estimate to see how frequently the update of that search is?
The website itself, I don't think they have, it's not like updated weekly, annually, or anything like that. But the laws sometimes do change, but you know, laws are unpredictable. It can change, you know, every day or every minute. But there's yeah, there's no way to tell, you know, when they update those changes, apprenticeship requirement changes. However, they do update the prevailing wages twice a year. So the apprentices and the journeyman wages, that they do, but other than, you know, the laws or the requirements, I don't know really. I can't tell.
Okay, no worries. And
You know, when they update those.
is there some type of website or email distribution list when, if and when there was an update to a law or update to the prevailing wage, to let those know that are so busy with their day-to-day? How would one know of these updates for the prevailing wage or laws?
Yeah, the public or the contractor can subscribe. They have like a newsletter subscription. So you can just put in your email, and then, you know, you'll get all the notices. It depends on what type of newsletter you want to receive from, you know, weekly or every day. So it can be like the changes on prevailing wages, or, you know, the labor law requirements. So there are options of, you know, you can where you can subscribe in on that DIR website as well.
Oh, perfect. Great. So that's a good way to be in the know.
Yeah.
And Mr. Chris McGillivray would like to know if there's any contact information that the audience could receive from your department.
Yes, I think, well, small business have our labor compliance team contact information or phone number and an email. I'm not sure if we put it here on our presentation, but yeah, we are public, so I guess we are just available and ready.
Do you have a department email address where both of you and your team would receive all inquiries, or would it just be your own direct numbers?
They can contact either of us. You know, both of us can help anyone. So they can send it to both or just to one. It doesn't really make any difference.
Okay.
We don't have a department email at this time.
All right. Well, I'll find your contact information to paste that right into the chat box right now.
Okay.
But it looks like there are no questions at all. So thank you so much to both of you for the excellent presentation. If we could go to the next slide, and I would like to invite Maria to the spotlight to have closing remarks.
Thank you, Christine. And thank you for participating in our presentation with our labor compliance team this afternoon. I want to remind everybody our next presenters is our revenue generation department at 1:30. Today is our fourth day of our fifth exciting day of valuable information that we have for you. So tomorrow is our last day. We will be emailing you a survey at the end of day 5. Please take the time to complete it and give us your honest feedback. This is the way that we can improve planning these events. Special thank you to both Carlas for the excellent presentation and for our supporting team, Christine and Jose. We will be closing this session now, and we will be seeing you this afternoon, or hope to see you this afternoon at 1:30. Remember to log in a few minutes before we start. Thank you, everyone.